esoteric, spiritual intuition, knowingness. I'll use the word intuition here. Intuition, awareness. Now, this is something that actually is constantly connecting and communicating within you. You're all very intuitive beings. However, you let the mind overcome it and you let your doubts then push it off somewhere else. But the intuition right now is actually bringing in feelings of things that are going to show up in the newspaper on Wednesday. And you say, "It's something wrong with my stomach. It must just be because I'm having problems at work." No, you're intuitive beings. You're picking up on things that are moving and shifting in the earth. Lovely smell. You're picking up on anxieties from people in the cities where you live in. You're picking up on the spooks that have been walking through the room here, always fascinated by you, that are earthbound. But your mental processes convert it, put it off in some different area, cause you to doubt yourself. So you're really not allowing yourself to perceive on an intuitive awareness basis. It's already there. We don't need to take class in intuition, in knowingness. You know why I don't want to do classes on that? Because then you go mental about it. It's already there. It is you. It's already at work. It's really about trusting that it's there. Trusting that it's not your garbage anyway, and trusting that when it comes in, particularly the mind tries to take it over. These are different types of awarenesses that you work with right now. These are the most obvious, because they're right in your face. If I kick you in the foot, you're going to be aware of it. These are the most prolific. They're always happening. They're driving you crazy. These are the most natural, the most fun, and the easiest, but the ones that you tend to push out of your way. When I asked the question before, where is your consciousness? It's a really good question. That's a really good question. Some of you say here, well, but are you really being conscious here? I would contend that a lot of your consciousness is out there somewhere, is out in another realm. You've held it out there. You've kept it from being in here. You're avoiding it in a lot of ways. You've hidden it somewhere, and you really don't know where it is. And when I say, ask the question, what is consciousness? You give me a mental answer. And you say awareness, okay, but really, what does that mean? What is consciousness? What is consciousness? And I debated with myself, which is rather enjoyable, about should we define this or not, or should we leave it open-ended? Decided we'd define it to a degree. The consciousness is awareness, but put more concisely, distilled down, consciousness is your presence, not like a gift, but I mean, well, it is a gift, but your presence. That's a little bit different than being in the now moment, very similar, they're like cousins, but it is your presence. Your consciousness is your presence, and what you are allowing yourself to be aware of. Your consciousness is your presence, and your presence right now is right here, is sitting right here. Your consciousness is your awareness of sensory, of mental, and intuitive. Your consciousness is presence. And the question that I have for each and every one of you, how present are you? How present are you? How real are you in the moment? How conscious are you? You're much more conscious than most other humans. That is indeed a fact. But there's still that struggling back and forth still wondering, well, what does all this mean? And what is spirit? And what is consciousness? I'm going to ask you right now, without music, without words, without anything, and without this fan, for just a moment, dear Linda, to feel your presence, to be aware of your presence. And before you do, get out of your brain. No mind in this. No brain in this. Just take a deep breath. What is your presence right now? Not off somewhere else, but right here. What is your presence? Some of you are getting a bit mental about this. You're trained that way. Humanity is like that right now. Everything is mental. You're trying to think about the answer. It's not going to work. Some of you are saying, I don't have the faintest idea. That's probably the best answer. Because at least you're opening yourself to it. What is your presence? Are you in your body, my dear? No. No, you're not. Are you in your mind? To a degree, yes. Are you fully present, Angel? No. No, and that's okay. At least you're aware of it. You see? And this is the simplicity and the beauty of it. Are you present? What is your presence? As you start to become aware of it through the senses, your physical senses, even through your mind, and the mind starts saying, am I present? Then through your intuition, you're finally going to start feeling yourself more present. You're going to start feeling more around you. You're going to have more awareness of yourself present. And the moment you have awareness of what is present, what is here, you're going to start understanding what is not present. You're going to understand what you've been holding back on. Then, my dear, you get that state of pure consciousness that goes beyond any of these types of awareness. It becomes the I am awareness. I am awareness. And the fact that I am present, and that's all that counts. I am that I am. Every part, every piece, the body of consciousness, every aspect, every thought, every feeling, I am fully aware. I am that I am. Now, my dear friends, you're in this cycle right now. You're in this evolution. You're in this next stage. Whether I was here talking about it, it's going to happen anyway. But by discussing it, you get to be in the consciousness of this. You get the awareness. It satisfies a degree of your mind. Another part of your mind is even more confused than before. But at least you understand now, this is what's happening to me. You're becoming more present, more conscious, more aware. That is an important fact. Why? And then we're going to have Zafariah come up. Because, I said before, everything is energy on Earth right now. Everything is about the conflict of energy, and that includes light versus dark, negative versus positive, energy battles. You could say it is kind of like the last great battle. Where the battle of energy is really taking place for most of humanity is in the mind. The mind, not necessarily being fought on big battlefields. It's in the mind. Humanity is going through a tremendous evolution. of going out of the mental era that it's been in for a long time. It's arguable, but you could say anywhere from about 800 years to 2,000 years in a very mental era. It's going beyond that. And as you know from your own personal experience, that's a tough one. How do you get out of your own mind? How do you go beyond the mind, the very thing that's controlling and managing and consuming energy? The very unit that is demanding and consuming huge volumes of energy. The mind, not the body, the mind. Mass consciousness is going through that right now. It's not going to settle down right away. But sooner or later, mass consciousness will evolve beyond the mind. You're doing it right now. You've been doing it for a while. As you go into beyond the mind, what is beyond the mind? What is beyond the mind? Yell it out. Integrated body of consciousness, that's good. And awareness and consciousness are all beyond the mind. Intuition, you don't have to think about things anymore, you just know them. Where you don't have to try anymore. And with that, I'll give you your homework assignment if you want to do homework. If you don't want to do homework, that's fine. This is a good homework. Yes. Pick one day between now and our next, now in the conference for the midsummer in Santa Fe. Pick one day, any day that suits you or pleases you. On that day, don't try. That's easy homework, yeah. On that day, don't try. Now, what I mean by that is stop trying to figure things out. Stop trying to organize things and plan things. Stop trying. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't get out of bed unless you don't want to. But stop pushing against it. Stop this mental activity. When the nagging doubt comes in, when the brain energy consumption comes in, don't play the game. Just take a deep breath, it doesn't matter, and move on. Notice the difference in your own energy level, but more importantly, notice the difference in the result that takes place when you stop trying. When you stop trying to figure it out, stop trying to make it happen, stop worrying about it, stop pushing on it. You'll know you're trying if you get this tension up here. So you take a deep breath and stop trying. Well, it requires tremendous trust, but that's a good thing. That's a fun thing. One day, if you would be so kind to yourself as to write down the next day what you were aware of, what you perceived, what your enlightenment was, if any, about that, about a day of not trying. We'll work with that once we get back together in October, I believe. So with that, let's take a deep breath. You are consciousness. You're not energy. Energy naturally falls into place and goes to work for you, totally efficient, as you become aware, as you become conscious of your presence. Consciousness is awareness of all the different things that are going on. Consciousness ultimately is about your presence right here, right now. Your presence in this moment.
My mind goes crazy.
Yes. Why?
It
Why?
worries.
Why?
It's trying to keep me safe because
Really?
if I let go of that program, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yes. Have you ever tried just to see?
Moments, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how long of a moment?
A few moments here and there.
And what happened?
It's nice and quiet.
Yes. But this is good, and I'm not trying to laser in on you, but you speak for many people. Why the worry, could we call it slight obsession? Good. Slight
More
obsession.
than slight. Yeah.
Yes, very slight, tiny, almost couldn't even spell it. The worrying, the fear, it's just mental chatter. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't that, you'd be doing crossword puzzles obsessively. It's occupying the mind. Why? What benefit are you deriving from it? Stop smiling, Mark. What benefit are you deriving from it?
None.
Yeah, oh, none. Then you wouldn't be doing it.
Well, I think in some way, I think it keeps me safe from moving into something
You
different.
think, but what really? Just let's do common sense here. What benefit is being derived? Because every one of you who has any sort of thing right now that's going on, I don't care if it's a financial thing, a health thing, a slight obsession thing, I don't care what it is. But you are deriving some benefit from it. Otherwise, you would have let go of it a long time ago. It serves you somehow. Every one of you, look at yourselves for a moment. Whatever that is, you are deriving a benefit. It is serving you. And therefore, all is well in all of your damn creation because it is serving you. It's doing something. You're loving it. Otherwise, you would have left it. So, how is it serving you to have this?
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, absolutely. But distracting from what?
From me.
So do you think maybe if you took that pause and stopped the mind chatter, and that's really all it is a huge distraction, and it could be in the form of, as I said, doing crossword puzzles all the time or worrying about things. What would happen then? You would have to face...
Myself.
Good. Now, what would be the biggest fear about facing yourself?
I wouldn't like me.
I like you. Why wouldn't you like you?
I don't know. I'm assuming I've done lots of bad
Oh,
stuff.
you have, but that, remember last month? That wasn't me.
That's right.
I had nothing to do with you. It's not. It's really, I can prove it scientifically that it was not you. Mathematically, scientifically, spiritually, philosophically. It was not you. You get a fresh start. So now, what is there to fear? I'll tell you.
Okay, thank you.
Right when you were on the verge. That there's nothing there.
I was going to say nothing.
An empty
Yeah.
suit. Yeah. What have you got to lose by trying?
Falling into nothingness,
Yeah.
into a void.
It's going to happen sooner or later. If you die and there's really nothing, you're going to fall into that. So why not find out now? So you can enjoy the rest of your life. When you discover that there really is something there, and it's not what you thought it was. That's the best part, and the toughest part. What's there is not what you have ever thought it was. Nothing like it at all. So give it a try, really. Now, your mind's going to still want to stay occupied doing something because it's used to cranking out energy and solving problems and that. But it could be channeled, keyword, into something more productive. There's no reason to worry. And I'm talking to all of you. I look sometimes at your lives and how much is occupied any given day on just worrying about something. Things that are not going to happen. Haven't you figured that out by now? What you worry about generally never happens. It's a spiritual law. Yeah. Good.
But I'm afraid that what if I stop worrying and then that's the time it happens?
Then
I'm serious.
I would say to you as a Professor Adamus, go for the experience. Really, go for the experience, everything falling apart. Or has it already?
I've done that.
Yeah. So all that worrying blew everything apart, and you're still here. You haven't disappeared. Maybe there's something new to discover. Yeah. I'm going to challenge you, and we're going to have you up here next month. You are coming back, aren't you?
Maybe.
I mean, after the end of the world, of course.
If we're here.
Yes. You know how many people have worried about the end of the world, build bomb shelters underground, and done all sorts of other crazy things? And, December 22nd is going to be a dark day for them. A sad day. Why? Because they're going to say, I got it wrong again. I even got the end of the frickin' world wrong. I screwed up once again. So, between now and next month, don't worry about anything. Serious. I mean, You think, oh, I don't know if I can do that. Sure you can, just choose not to. What do you do when worry starts coming over you?
Sometimes I stop and I take a deep breath.
Yeah,
and
sometimes.
And I say to myself, this too shall pass.
Yeah, there's two, it wasn't you. Not only will pass, but it wasn't you. All the fears, all the worries are brought up by remembrances of things from the past, which are now irrelevant because we're going into a new energy, you see. So it really wasn't you. So when the worry comes up, you take a deep breath and kiss it, just like Edith and I kissed before. Embrace it. Never lived that one down. Embrace it. Dive into it. Dive into it. You have nothing to worry about. Instead of letting it chase you around the block and through your dreams, dive into it. See what happens. It's just energy. You'll find out that the worry really is just a facade. Yeah. Stop. That worry is just chasing you down the street, right in your tail. Just turn around and face it and see what happens. Don't battle it, though. Go into it.
What's the difference?
Battling is you're becoming adversarial. You're trying to overcome it or overwhelm it. Like there's a fight, and there's really not. Just go into it. Walk right into it. Just walk right into it. Okay. Just try it.
I will.
Yeah, you probably will. Once.
I will.
So for a whole month, and then next month, please, tell everybody how magnificent you feel, how gorgeous you look, how at peace you are, and now you don't know what to do with all this extra energy. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. That's not my point. My point is, it's a very interesting dilemma on this planet. I love the dilemma. Other people aren't going to, but here's the dilemma. The brain, not my hat. My hat's not the dilemma. Some of you are like, really, his hat? No, the brain, the mind. As I said in Kihak. So there's some people that say that humans only use 20% of their brains, their minds. Now, I tell you what, they're using 100% every day and struggling. They really do. There is no unused part of the brain. Every day, every part of the developed mind is being used. Now, at times it gets bored and it does things like crossword puzzles or whatever, but it's being used somehow. There is tremendous input-output at all times. The brain is at its maximum. Technology growing like that, consciousness expanding like that, the brain is screwed. I was going to say fuck, but but it's Christmas, and it is. I'm using your terminology. You know, when something is really like there's no hope anymore, that football team is just, or that person or whatever, brain is screwed. It absolutely screwed. It is maxed out. It cannot handle what comes next. And that's an interesting, amazing proposition. It's going to lead to interesting things. It's maxed out. It cannot handle any more data or input. You know it. Facts and figures and thinking stuff. It cannot. Yet people are trying. And there's all this stuff. You take ginseng and make your brain grow. No. But anyway, the brain is at the max in the developed world, pretty much, but soon to be everywhere else. It cannot handle anything else. You know it. You see it every day. You see it in yourselves, but you see it in other people. They just can't take it. Because the brain is also the center point for emotions. This is often overlooked by social scientists, but the brain is also the seat of emotions. So what happens is the brain not being able to take any more in. The brain and the emotions simply shut down. They go numb. And then what happens, what you see is people retreating, getting small again. And Calder had a term I heard earlier. They live in silos. They confine themselves. A silo is a nice emotional thing to have around you. You know, silo for farming, made out of concrete. So they live in their silos. They live local linear. They start saying that they're simplifying their lives. They're not simplifying. They're just closing down, shutting down. But there's an interesting dilemma in that. The mind doesn't want to be told to shut down, even though it's at capacity. It's at capacity. But the mind then starts rebelling and pretty soon is going berserk. The mind it's at its max, but it keeps trying. It was programmed to keep going no matter what. It was programmed to always have streams of thoughts, informations, even dreams going through it. It was not ever programmed or allowed to just shut down for a little bit. Not even at night, not when you're dreaming. The mind doesn't stop, it's going. It's going 24/7. So we have this dilemma on the planet right now. We are humans are maxed out of the brain. It cannot handle anymore, but more is coming. More is coming because of technology, the result of consciousness. What are we going to do? There will be people that try to then get smarter, but they'll go crazy. They really will go crazy. And then they're going to rely on drugs, vitamins, medications, supplements, and everything else to try to calm the mind a little bit. There's some very smart people, very, very smart people out there, but even they're at capacity. And this is perfect. This is perfect, and where you are is perfect, because where we go from here, as I talked about in our last gathering, is beyond the mind. It has to be. It simply has to be the time to, whether you call it fantasy, whether you call it knowingness, whatever it is, you got to make the leap now. Now more than ever is the time of two worlds. We've talked about it. You've seen it coming for the last, 15 years. Now is that time of the two worlds, and you're going to be living in that for a while, for quite a while, and that's okay. The two worlds, and Linda, can I get you, Grinch, can I get you up here on the board, please?
My pleasure.
The world is going to be, and I'm going to use different ways of describing it, but if you would, two columns on the page.
Okay.
The world is going to be divided into thinkers and knowers. Thinkers on the left, knowers on the right. That's going to be one of the biggest differences. And there won't be a lot of knowers. A knower is one who uses Gnost. A knower is one. I have to stop for a minute and point out. So, dear Cauldra and Linda were complaining about my sudden change when they thought they were going to film Dreamwalker Birth, and suddenly we're doing something else. But a knower just goes with it. Doesn't complain. Doesn't...
We can complain a little bit.
No. And it was a very good example because they were following a local linear path. Local meaning, do you realize how many people on this planet never live more than 25 miles, 35 or 40 kilometers from where they grew up? That's local. Some people travel a little bit, but most people in their lives will spend about 99.9% of their time in their local environment. That's not so bad. I mean, you pick a place you like and you live there and you're familiar with it, but what also happens is they get local in their thinking, local, limited. They get local in everything they do, and they get local in their thinking as well. And the thinking isn't creative. It doesn't go anywhere. You're going to have a world now divided into thinkers and knowers. And underneath knower, put parentheses, creative. Creative. And again, when I use the term creative, I'm simply talking about exponential, going the word creative.
Creative?
Creative, C-R-E.
Under knowers?
Yes, ma'am. So you're going to see this world divided into the two. And the funny thing is the knowers are the ones who are in the moment, absolutely allowing, absolutely trusting themselves, letting that creative flow come through, easing the pressure on the mind. Because once one allows themselves to be a knower, a creative being, it takes such tremendous pressure off the mind. And the mind stops its games of emotions and problems and worrying, and it gets on with what the mind does best. Basically data, facts and figures, remembering history, and knowing how to maneuver in this environment. That's really what the mind does best. But the mind is not very good at thinking through anything else. So we're going to have a world of creators and thinkers and knowers. You are the knowers. You are the knowingness, the Gnost. You go beyond thinking. The mind is maxed out. And suddenly you just take that leap into knowingness. It's a big leap. Well, it's really a little leap, but it's a little leap once you do it, but it's a big leap when you think about it in advance. So to continue on the board here, Linda, we have in the thinker category, they're local and linear.
Local and
Local
linear.
and linear. When you start contemplating the world, the cosmos, you're no longer a local linear thinker. When you start contemplating the world, the entire cosmos, suddenly you have to go out of thinking because the mind doesn't know how to do it. Suddenly you have to go into knowingness, Gnost. So over here in this column, we also have power.
Power.
Power. Power. The world is a big power game, and power is a illusion of the mind. There is no power. It's all an illusion. There is no power anywhere until one actually believes it and starts living it. But you have this whole equation of power on this planet. What you're seeing right now in the news, it's all about power. I'll come back to that later. It's all about power. You'll realize, though, as a knower, that next, you might as well just stay up here, Grinch. That instead of power, everything is self-energy. Self-energy.
Self-energy.
2 words, self-energy. Self-energy means as consciousness, you attract all the energy to you, whether it's already in your physical being, whether it's already just simply in your field. You attract it, and it's there. You don't need power because your consciousness brings forth all the energy you need. Then you start looking younger, Edith. Yeah, when you stop thinking so much. Yes, over here on this, we have the mind, of course. The brain at capacity. It's this thing about you're only using 20% of your mind. You may be only using 20% of your life, your true capabilities, but your mind, you're using all of it. So over here, we have the mind. Yes. And over here, of course, the Gnost.
Ouch.
Ouch. Ouch. On the left side, we have, I'm going to call it gravity. Gravity, right, two lines, gravity on one line, time, space on the other. People are in that. They're stuck in that.
Time, space below it?
Yes, please. They're stuck in that. You're going to realize, you are starting to realize that actually time, space moves through you. You don't move through it. It's huge once you start realizing that. It's kind of odd at first, but once you start realizing it, it's huge. So you don't need that. We don't even need a word over here because, yes, we do need a word. Here, gravity is an opposing force. If you drop something, it's an opposing force. It falls to the ground. Over here, put just gravity and with a plus sign. Gravity is going to serve you. Gravity is going to serve you. Actually, there's all this quest for energy on the planet, and Jesus, they're putting up solar panels like they're going out of style, and they are going to go out of style. That's the funny thing. If you're spending a lot of money this next year on solar panels, so sorry. Because the real energy on this planet, the real available, easy energy is gravity. You realize the force that's in gravity on this planet that causes that to drop also causes, it has the same potential for that to go up. It does. And the scientists will think I'm crazy, but I'm going to have that last laugh in a couple of years. Gravity has an inherent built-in energy in it all the time. It's in neutral. But in the reality that you're in, everything falls to the ground. But they're going to realize that there is all the energy you ever need in gravity on this planet. But that's a whole other thing. On this side, right, physical.
Physical.
Physical. You live in physical bodies. And the knowers are going to realize that the physical body is simply one of the sensory tools that they have. Just one. So I'm really not sure what to write on that side other than just put sensual awareness.
Sensual.
Sensual awareness. The physical body is your way of perceiving reality. These are your senses and your mind, but there is a sense, and many senses actually beyond that are not associated with the body. So you're going to start living in a very and reality. We could go on and on and on with that, but we have other things to do today. I want you to start seeing the world right now. The world is moving into two worlds like never before. I'll proclaim this date, December 5th, 2015, as the date that we suddenly realized it is two worlds, officially two worlds. It's been leading up to that for a while.
Wow.
There's been the whole engagement process, and then, boom, we're here, officially two worlds. Good news, bad news. Good news, bad news. There are a lot of kumbayas that aren't going to like it. Oh, we're all one world. It's like, no, you're not. No, you are not. So I want you to be aware of these things because you're still living amongst all this. You've come from all this. It's ingrained in your system. And all of this is going to try to pull you back when you try to go to that. It's going to suck you right back in and say, you're a physical being. You can feel how it hurts. You are an emotional, mental being. You're linear. You're limited. You got to be crazy. You think you can defy gravity and time and space. You're nuts. All that stuff is going to try to pull you back. All that stuff is going to try to hold you in. And you've already experienced that. But the reality is that you are naturally moving over to here. It's why I asked the question up front, how'd you do this year with being your natural self? It's not your mind that is moving you to here. It's not because you've studied spiritual classes that's moving you over to here. It's not because you're eating certain kinds of food that's moving you over. You're moving over just because it's the natural movement, the natural expansion, and it's also your desire. Also, I got to put one more thing on the list here. I'm just going to put passion right there. And when I say passion, it's the old human passion, what excites you, what gets you going. By the way, there's a huge drop in global passion, huge drop amongst individuals, but if it's measured globally, passion is going like that. People don't know what to do anymore. You come over here on this side and you realize that passion is old-fashioned. I like that. Passion is old-fashioned. You don't need that outer stimulation. You don't need those little triggers in you anymore. You don't really need the word passion anymore. Now, I know it's been awful going out of your old passions. What am I here for? Why am I here? Shut up. Just passion is a word that's going to disappear from your vocabulary because you're not going to have to go looking for passion. You're not going to have to passionate yourself every few days. You're not going to have to. It's always there. It's just the I am. I am living. Who needs to have all these passions, whether it's, coin collecting or bike races or, whatever you do for your passion. Every moment is the passion. But passion will go out of your vocabulary. So there's no really corresponding word over there. Who needs it? When you're alive and conscious. So officially today, I'm going to mark as the day that the two worlds began. It's been in the making for a long time, but it's here, it's now. The biggest difference is going to be thinkers and knowers. Those who are still in their mind, still trying to figure out things in their mind. Not that the mind is bad, but it's maxed out. It's absolutely maxed out. Last month when we got together, I talked about fantasy and talked about a lot of these things, but I said fantasy is the way out. It's the way beyond. Fantasy, allowing yourself to go out beyond the mind into things that the mind would judge as being undoable, unbelievable, made up. Going into fantasy, which is as real as all of this, it's just real in a different way. Maybe not real in the physical, local, linear way, but it's still real. That leap into the beyond the mind, and it's a big leap because the mind is scared shitless about it. The mind is like, what's going to happen? Shh. Mind, it's all natural. It's all natural. Dear mind, just as the body, every cell in the body has been waiting, holding a space for the light to come in. Dear mind, so have you been waiting for this leap into Gnost, the beyond. It's a different way of sensing, thinking. It takes us out of local linear into global exponential, into cosmic exponential. And it's not going to be the same platform. It's not going to be the same basis for reality. It's totally different. And we'll still be here doing this, and we'll still be able to sense with our human senses, but we're moving into something else. And the funny thing is, dear mind, the funny thing is on this official date now, it's official because I said it and it's written. Once it's written, it's official. On this official day of the recognition of two worlds on this planet, the world of the thinkers and the world of the knowers. Dear mind, on this date, without any effort whatsoever, I'm going to allow myself in a very natural way just to be there. I'm not going to, mind, you're not going to be able to figure it out right away. It might not make any sense to you, but that's where we're going. And we're going there naturally. No force, no effort, no thinking. Unknown. One thing I can tell you from my experience and also working with some of you in an intense way is that this new energy, it is very, very potent. It is very, very pure. It has a way of, I'm going to say, blowing your mind. Doesn't work well with the mind. We found that out, to be sure. And when I look at it, that is perfectly logical, or as I should say, natural, that it would not work so well with your mind. Your mind is an old energy tool. Now, again, we've talked about the mind at great length in these shouts, but your mind has taken vibrational energy and worked very carefully with its patterns. And your mind has become patternized into this. New energy does not work well with the mind at all. One of the challenges is going to be trusting yourself enough to get out of your mind. This is where we get into some of the divine principles that we have talked about for thousands and thousands of years in the mystery schools and the work that we have done together. We go beyond the human mind. We go into the divine mind. It operates different. It doesn't use judgments, and it doesn't use what you call analysis, and it doesn't use straight line logic or hierarchical logic. The divine mind is a compassionate, honoring, simple system. Whereas the human mind tends to get very complex. It prides itself with its complexity. Smart people like to be very complex people, but sooner or later they become very dull people, very inefficient. So you're going to be challenged here, as you have agreed to begin working with the divine intelligence, the divine mind, whatever you choose to call it, but it is yours. It goes beyond human intelligence. It is not a database. It does not assess itself based on the past as it looks into the future. The divine doesn't do that at all. The divine understands a very simple principle, that all is well throughout all of creation. So the divine mind is a very trusting mind. It understands, in the words of Tobias, it doesn't matter. It's looking to explore rather than to protect. And that's going to be a challenge for some of you. Whereas your human condition and its mind have been looking for protection, safety, and security. The divine, combined with new energy, doesn't truly care about that. So there's times your human self is going to scream out loud, protect me, save me. Come to understand right now that the divine doesn't care. It doesn't need to protect anything. That is an artificial belief. Protect you from what? From the love that's already within you? From the status of ascension that you're truly already in, you just are experiencing getting there? From the fact that everything is in its perfect state of being? It's time to get over this whole belief system that was implanted and acted upon a long time ago, that a darkness or another force can take you over. It doesn't work. There have been attempts. You've attempted it with others. They've attempted it with you. It doesn't work. You cannot be consumed by another. You cannot be trapped in a reality. You are truly sovereign beings. So there's nothing absolutely to worry about in this whole concept of protecting and fortifying and preserving. It's led you to more difficulties and frustrations and challenges than it was ever worth.